The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Those words were carved by Epictetus, but they don't just sit on paper like dead ink. No, they burn. They sear through your bones when life drags you into its darkest corners, and when everything around you is collapsing, when the air feels heavy with betrayal, failure, and suffocating doubt. Those words hit like a lightning strike right through the chest. Anyone, any fool, can wear a calm face when the road is smooth, when the sun shines kindly and everything smells of comfort. But wait until the storm begins to roar. Wait until the thunder cracks the sky wide open and the winds howl like demons at your door. That's where masks shatter. That's where your real face is revealed. Tell me you don't know this place. Tell me you haven't sat there silent, staring into the screen of your phone, waiting, begging, praying for a message that never arrives. The job you poured your heart into, gone. The friend you trusted more than yourself, turned their back, left you bleeding in the dirt. The plans you built, brick by brick, now lie in ruins, trampled under the feet of fate. And there you sit, alone, in that quiet room that somehow feels louder than any battlefield. But the most violent storms are not outside your window. They're inside you, gnashing their teeth, clawing at your heart, tearing through your mind. Every heartbeat sounds like a war drum. Every breath feels like fire. And in that chaos, it's so easy, so damn easy to fall apart, to scream, to curse everything and everyone, to sink into bitterness and hate. But beneath that chaos, hidden deep in the rubble of your soul, there's something else. A fragile but unbreakable voice. A whisper that doesn't beg or panic. A voice that simply says, "Be still. Stand tall. You are the storm." This message right here is not for the part of you that wants comfort. No, this is for the raw, untamed, ancient force inside you that refuses to bow. The part of you that still wants to rise, even with cracked ribs and bleeding hands. I'm going to drag you through 5 brutal, personal, and bone-deep lessons from Stoicism. Lessons that don't just enter your ears, they carve themselves into your chest. Lessons that will leave scars, but beautiful ones. These are not soft, watered-down words. This is not empty, plastic motivation. What I'm about to give you is raw truth, harsh, unrelenting, yet cleansing. The kind of truth that feels like it was ripped straight from your own story, because it was. You and I, we've both walked through nights so long they feel endless. Nights where the clock mocks you with every second, where your mind spins in circles, dragging every regret to the surface. Mornings where your first breath feels like a curse, because you know exactly what hell waits beyond that door. But listen closely. The storm outside isn't your enemy. It's your trial. It's your forge. It's the fire that will burn away everything false and leave only what's real. By the time this message ends, you won't just hear words. You'll remember who the hell you are. So, right now, I want you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, share it with that one person who's lost in their storm right now. But most importantly, don't you dare skip a single second. Every sentence matters. Every word hits for a reason. And after each point, I'll demand one thing from you. Drop a powerful affirmation in the comments. Let your words become thunder. Let your energy roar through this storm. Because tonight, we don't run from the storm. We become it. Now, let's get into it. Number 1. I accept the storm. I do not fight it. Storms do not knock. They crash. They shatter windows of the soul and rip through the walls of your mind without mercy. They don't ask if you're ready. They don't wait for you to gather your strength. They arrive uninvited, wild-eyed and ruthless, tearing apart everything you called peace. And here's the raw truth. Fight them, and they grow sharper. Push back, and they drown you deeper. The harder you resist, the faster they tighten their grip around your throat. Most people never learn this savage law. They keep thrashing in the flood, screaming at the sky, swinging fists at shadows, convinced they can outmuscle fate itself. But storms? They laugh at defiance. They feed on your panic. They grow louder with every drop of fear you spill. The only way out is not through control. It is through absolute, brutal surrender. Stoicism doesn't arrive wearing silk gloves. It kicks down the door of your comfort and shouts straight into your chest. You do not control what happens to you. You only control how you face it. That's not some pretty phrase carved into stone. That's war paint. That's a battle cry for the soul. Epictetus, a man who knew the taste of chains and the weight of suffering, carved this into every breath he took. And yet, here we are, in a world addicted to control, surrounded by people who waste their entire existence trying to bend reality to their fragile desires. Watch them closely. They curse the winds, they wail at the rain, they beg the universe to kneel before them. But the storm keeps roaring. It doesn't flinch, it doesn't bargain, it devours them whole. But then, there's that moment. That split second when everything inside you snaps. The screaming stops. The panic drains out. And instead of asking, "Why me?" you ignite with something feral and ancient inside you. You stop pleading. You stop resisting. You lock eyes with the chaos and say, "This is happening, and I will face it." That sentence alone slices through the madness like a blade through silk. Suddenly, your heartbeat slows, steady and lethal. The storm loses its poison. The panic turns to silence. You realize resistance was your only enemy all along, and now you've dropped the shield. You've welcomed the storm, not as a victim, but as something far more dangerous. A soul that cannot be shaken. I remember those nights, the ones where the walls seemed to close in, tighter and tighter, and my thoughts spun like knives slicing every corner of my mind. No sleep, no escape. Only darkness and that suffocating, crushing dread. I fought it. I cursed it. I begged for release, but it dragged me deeper. Until one night when everything inside me broke wide open, I sat alone in that black room and whispered through clenched teeth, "Let it happen." And those words, they didn't comfort me. They didn't save me. They detonated something inside me. They unlocked the gates to a place far beyond fear. The storm outside kept raging, but I no longer cared. I watched it swirl with calm eyes and steady hands. I didn't defeat it. I dissolved into it, and somehow, in that madness, I survived. Feel this deep in your bones. Acceptance is not weakness. It is not surrender to fate. It is the purest act of power. It means you stop wearing the mask. You stop pretending you deserve safety. You stop lying to yourself that life owes you gentleness. Acceptance is the moment you bare your teeth at the sky and growl, "Do your worst." It's the moment you let the rain soak through your skin, let the winds tear at your clothes, and still, you do not fall, you do not flinch. You let the storm howl, knowing it can't touch what's untouchable inside you. That's when you become something else entirely, untamed, unstoppable, immortal in spirit. You rise from the ashes of your old self, not in spite of the storm, but because of it. Tonight, if your mind feels like it's set ablaze, if every breath feels like fire, and every thought sharp enough to cut through bone, stop running, stop fighting, Stop pretending you can escape. Close your eyes. Feel every crack in your heart. Let it all burn. Whisper this with venom and thunder inside your chest. Let it happen. I will stand through it. Because you weren't born to seek sunny days. You weren't made to chase comfort. You were forged to withstand hell itself and crawl out of it with flames still licking your heels. You were built to rise from storms, crowned in scars, eyes blazing with fury, a heart that refuses to kneel. And when the storm finally dies down, and it will, you'll still be standing, alone, unbroken, smiling in the wreckage. Let them feel it. Drop this in the comments. I stand firm within the storm. Number 2. My calm is my power, not my weakness. Lies are everywhere, crawling beneath the skin of this world, poisoning minds quietly. And one of the deadliest lies ever whispered into your ears was this: calmness is weakness. That if you aren't loud, if you don't slam your fists on tables, if you don't bark louder than the chaos itself, then you'll be devoured. They want you to believe that rage is power, that noise is strength, that aggression is survival. But here's the brutal twist. They sold you that lie because they are terrified of your silence. The loudest ones, the ones who roar and flail and spit fire, they are usually the ones drowning, gasping for breath beneath their own collapsing world. They scream not to conquer, but to hide their fractures. They fight fire with fire because they don't know how to stand in flames without burning. True power doesn't scream. It doesn't roar. It doesn't need to. It stares the storm dead in the eye, breath steady, heart unmoved, while everything else falls apart. It's the man who watches the world crumble around him and doesn't even flinch. Marcus Aurelius, warrior, emperor, philosopher, wrote with a hand soaked in battles and betrayal, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Those aren't words from an ivory tower. They were forged in the heat of war, in the depths of plague, in the cold shadows of betrayal. That calm isn't softness. It's a weapon. It's armor. It's the sharpest blade you'll ever carry. Let this claw its way into your bones. Strength is not in the fists. It is not in the thunderous voice. It is not in snapping back or crushing others beneath your rage. Strength lives in the quiet places, the steady breath, the eyes that refuse to blink, the heart that beats slow when everything else is trembling. That is what breaks others. That is what commands respect. In a world addicted to speed, reaction and noise, the calm man is a terrifying sight, because he cannot be moved, he cannot be baited, he does not fall into traps. He is the storm beneath the surface, quiet, unseen, lethal. How many times have you watched people lose themselves right in front of you? They panic, they explode, they lash out and ruin everything. And every time they grow weaker, they become smaller, begging for validation through their rage. But when you remain calm, when your face doesn't twitch, when your breath remains slow, when your words are few and sharp, you become magnetic. People begin to orbit you. They lean in. They look to you for guidance. They follow you, not because you asked, but because your calmness commands them without a word. You become the lighthouse in their hurricane, the anchor in their madness. I have lived this. I have tasted the fires of betrayal. I have stood inside the storm of financial ruin, personal loss, and unexpected heartbreak. And I've felt that pull, the animal urge to scream, to strike, to explode. But I refused. I locked my jaw. I slowed my breath. I whispered inside my skull, "My calm is my weapon. My calm is my shield." And every time, every single time, I emerged from the wreckage untouchable, stronger, sharper, respected, not because I crushed others, but because I refused to crumble myself. My calm became the iron crown they couldn't steal from me. Understand this. Your calm makes people uncomfortable. It unsettles the ones who haven't mastered themselves yet. Your silence echoes louder than their screams. It forces them to face their own chaos, their own weak hearts. That's why your calm feels powerful. Because it is. It's not passive. It's control. It's mastery. It's the highest form of dominance in a world that worships impulsive reactions. When you own your calm, you don't just survive. You dictate the battlefield. You bend situations to your will simply by refusing to break. Tonight, when the world tries to pull you back into the noise, when people test your limits, when the storm howls, daring you to fight back, don't move, don't speak, don't even blink. Let them see it. Let them feel it. Let your calmness stretch out like a shadow across the room. And inside your heart, wear these words like a crown of fire. I do not owe anyone my reaction. My calm is my crown. My calm is my power. Watch how they begin to fall apart in your stillness. Watch how the storm loses its teeth. And watch how, slowly, you become the only unshakable force standing tall. When you've felt this, when you've tasted this fierce, intoxicating stillness, mark yourself with it forever. Drop this in the comments below. My calm is my greatest strength. Number 3. I focus only on what I can control. Most people walk through life suffocating under invisible weights they chose to carry. They try to clutch everything in their trembling hands. They worry about tomorrow before it even wakes. They obsess over the whispers of others, over outcomes that slip like smoke through their fingers. And soon, they're crushed by a mountain that was never theirs to climb in the first place. They sit there, breathless, trapped inside their own frantic minds, strangled by the illusion that they can control it all. And that's exactly why they shatter. They burn themselves to ash trying to hold everything. But the ancient warriors of Stoicism, they saw through this illusion with crystal clarity. They didn't live in a world of soft comforts. They faced death, exile, war, and betrayal. They understood something most people today are too blind to see. Seneca, a man who stared down emperors and stood face to face with death itself, said it with brutal elegance. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Those words aren't poetry. They are the brutal mirror held up to every overthinking soul. The truth most people choke on every day is this: we trap ourselves inside our minds. We build nightmares before we even step outside. We shackle ourselves with chains forged from fears that haven't even happened. There's a savage, liberating lesson here, one that can change everything, if you dare to live by it. The Stoics carved it into stone. There are only two kinds of things in this life: the things you can control and the things you cannot. That's it. That's the battlefield. And if it is beyond your control, you must drop it. No mercy, no hesitation, no guilt. Let it go as if it never existed. Burn it, bury it, forget it. You owe it nothing. Picture this, not in some soft, dreamy way, but in the harshest storm imaginable. You're caught in a savage, merciless sea. Thunder rips the sky. Waves claw at your ship. You can scream at the storm, curse the waves, or panic like the fools around you, but none of that will stop the sea. You cannot control the wind. You cannot silence the thunder. But your hands grip the wheel. Your choices still remain. You can adjust the sails. You can steer through the madness. You can keep your eyes locked forward, steady in the chaos, while others drown in their helplessness. And that is where survival is decided, not by stopping the storm, but by mastering yourself within it. I've lived this war inside my own mind. I've sat awake in the dead of night, gnawed by worries I had no power over, judgments from others, brutal losses, unexpected disasters that crashed into my life without warning. And every single time, it left me hollow and helpless. But then, I started slicing through the noise with one brutal question: is this within my control? If the answer was yes, if it was my action, my choice, my mindset, I moved. I acted with force. But if the answer was no, I let it die. I didn't just ignore it, I murdered it, without guilt, without hesitation. And slowly, the weight began to fall off my shoulders. My chest grew lighter, my mind sharpened, my spine straightened. The world didn't get easier, but I became unbreakable within it. This isn't a technique. This isn't some trendy life hack. This is a rebellion against everything that keeps you small and scared. This is a ruthless way of living. The more you focus only on what you can control, the more you begin to taste true freedom. The storms will keep howling, people will keep talking, tragedies will still strike, but none of it will touch you, because you'll be too focused, too locked in, too untouchable, steering your ship through the madness, eyes burning with clarity, hands steady as stone. And tonight, when your mind starts spinning, dragging you into another spiral of helpless worry, stop everything. Let the world scream. Let the chaos dance around you, and whisper to yourself with a voice sharp as steel: I only hold what's mine to carry. Then feel the weight fall away. Feel the chains break. That peace you've been chasing. It was never outside you. It was always hidden beneath your own frantic hands. Now leave your mark. Burn this affirmation into the comments below. I release what I cannot control. Number 4. The storm doesn't break me, it reveals me. Most people never understand the brutal truth about storms. They think storms are just tests, temporary hells to endure and survive. But that's a lie, a comfortable, sweet little lie they whisper to themselves to feel safe. The reality is far more savage. Storms don't just test you, they expose you. They rip the mask off your face. They tear open your chest and show you exactly who you really are, beneath all the pretending, beneath all the calm smiles and practiced words. When life is soft and smooth, anyone can fake composure. Anyone can play wise. It's easy to smile, to speak calmly, to act like you've mastered life when everything bends in your favor. But storms, they don't care about your masks. When betrayal shatters your trust, when failure grinds you into dust, when heartbreak slices through your chest like a blade, that's when the truth comes crashing through the door. That's when your soul stands naked under the floodlights of chaos, trembling and exposed for exactly what it is. The storm doesn't invent your weakness. It reveals it. It doesn't break you down. It simply shows you the cracks that were already there. Epictetus knew this truth better than anyone. A man born into chains, who spent most of his life as a slave, yet still carved his name into history as one of the fiercest Stoic minds. He didn't just survive storms, he welcomed them, and he said it with words that strike like lightning. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. Those words aren't advice, they're a warning, a brutal prophecy. When life rips everything from you, it's not creating a new version of you. It's showing you the one that's been hiding in plain sight all along. I've stared this truth in the face during my own darkest hours. I've watched my life collapse, betrayals that came like knives in the back, losses that left me crawling in the dirt, heartbreaks that hollowed me out like a ghost. And in those moments, I was stripped bare. I wasn't as strong as I pretended. I wasn't as wise as I thought. I saw every flaw, every desperate need for control, every trembling fear I'd buried beneath fake strength. And it was vicious. It burned. But it also sparked something inside me that no calm day ever could. The beginning of my rebirth. That's the raw beauty of storms. They show you everything. They shatter your illusions. They crush the version of you that's too fragile to survive the next chapter of your life. And the best part, they always pass. The storm isn't here to destroy you. It's here to sharpen you, to rip away your false armor and show you exactly where the rust lives inside your soul, to point its icy finger at every soft spot you've been too afraid to face. And once it reveals those hidden places, the choice becomes yours. You can run from it, pretend you're still unbroken, patch up the cracks with weak excuses, or you can rebuild, slowly, fiercely, brick by brick. You can forge yourself into something that doesn't just survive storms, but welcomes them as fuel. When the storm is gone, and trust me, it always leaves eventually, you'll stand taller. Not because life became easier. Number life will always throw more storms. You'll stand taller because you're no longer hiding from your own reflection. You've faced the storm's brutal mirror, and you've accepted what it showed you. You've sharpened your edges, you've reforged your armor, and you've risen from the ruins as someone unrecognizable to your former self. So tonight, don't just grit your teeth and wait for the storm to pass. Lean into it. Let it tear you apart. Let it show you every weakness, every lie, every false comfort you've been clinging to. Study it. Embrace it. Let it reveal the parts of you that still need to die, and then walk out of that storm reborn. Unapologetic, unbreakable. Drop this into the comments below and make it a declaration. I am revealed, not broken, by the storm. Number 5. I am the eye of the storm. The wildest, most overlooked secret of storms is this: the absolute silence, the ruthless stillness at the center. While everything around it spins into madness, chaos howls, destruction rains down like hellfire, the eye stands untouched, unshaken, quiet as a graveyard at midnight. That silence is not weakness. It is the fiercest power anyone could ever claim. That eye is no mere meteorological fact. It's a brutal metaphor carved into the bones of existence. Life's chaos will try to drag you under, rip you apart, drown you in noise and fury, but somewhere deep inside, a place exists where no storm can touch you. That place is your soul's fortress. It's your calm before, during, and after the disaster. The pulse beneath the chaos. Marcus Aurelius didn't just speak wisdom, he roared it from the cliffs of history. Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. Imagine a cliff. Waves crash, roar, and smash against it, but the cliff doesn't flinch. It doesn't crumble. It doesn't panic. It stands. That's not just strength. That's godlike power. You find yourself in the whirlwind of life, everything crashing, friends turning cold, money slipping like sand, dreams burning to ash. Every dawn, it feels like you're sinking deeper in a whirlpool of destruction, like the world is tearing itself apart around you, and somehow dragging you with it. But then, one night, when the rage inside and outside threatens to swallow you whole, you stop, you breathe, you quit running, you don't fight, you don't scream. You let the storm rage through you but refuse to be part of its chaos. You sit right in the middle of it, and in that insane moment, a horrifying, electrifying truth shakes your core. You are the eye of the storm. You feel it, this raging world spinning, shattering, falling apart. But inside your chest, a stillness, a quiet that no hurricane, no betrayal, no loss can destroy. Peace isn't a place, it's a decision, a savage, unyielding refusal to be dragged by anything outside your control. Picture this: a hurricane ripping at your skin, tearing your world apart. But you stand like a god, utterly still, utterly calm. Nothing can shake you because you have rooted your soul deep into the earth, where chaos is just noise, just shadows swirling at the edges of your existence. And here's the ultimate prize. When you reach this terrifying, electrifying mastery, fear loses its grip. Change, loss, betrayal, they become echoes in the storm you've already conquered. You've stared into the eye, and the storm bowed before your calm. Tonight, carry this in your bones. You are not the chaos. You are not the storm. You are the fierce, unmoving calm that everything else breaks against and fails to destroy. You are the still center, spinning in a violent world. Drop this declaration into the comments below and own it. I am the eye of the storm. Storms don't quit. They crash, they rage, they tear at every fiber of your existence with relentless fury. But here's the wild truth no one dares to say. You don't have to lie down and drown in their chaos anymore. The battlefield isn't out there, it's inside you. And inside you burns a power forged in the fiercest fires of pain, carved by brutal wisdom and hammered into unbreakable steel by every storm you survived. You are not a victim waiting to be shattered. You are the eye of the hurricane, the calm so fierce it devours the noise, the madness, the destruction around you. Your mind, once a battlefield, is now a fortress, untouchable, unshakable, a terrifying silence in a world addicted to chaos. If these words hit you like lightning, if they stirred something savage and alive inside, don't let this moment slip into nothingness. Like this video, not just for me, but for your soul. Share it with those caught in their own storms, drowning in noise. Subscribe. Join a tribe that stands still when the world spins out of control. And drop your affirmations in the comments. Declare your calm like a warrior claiming their crown. This isn't just your calm, it's your rebellion, your fortress, your sacred weapon. Guard it with everything you have, because once you own this stillness, nothing in this chaotic world can ever touch you again.